Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I wanted to show you something interesting. When you go to Google and you type in crypto broker, what you get is a bunch of sponsored listings where they're just using the keywords crypto broker, but they're not actually brokers. Until the first result that comes up that's not sponsored is Caleb and Brown. And that's because, as far as I know, unless you're some private wealth person, there's no such thing as a crypto broker. But there is with Caleb and Brown. These guys trailblazed it. And so that is what's so great, is that I actually have a broker. They're my partner, and I have a broker at Caleb and Brown that I can either call or email. I can literally email them and say, buy me $1,000 of XRP. And within my experience is within 5 minutes, I get an email acknowledging it. I get another email with the trade that went through, with a PDF that shows me all the details of the trade. And the more money you're trading, you can negotiate your commission rate. And there's no spreads. Starts at a 3.5% commission, but you can negotiate it if you're doing larger sums. You can negotiate it down. And I get institutional custody, and I get a lot of institutional liquidity, and that's what it's all about. And I'm sitting here watching CNBC. They've added XRP, it looks like, to their ticker down there where they just had Bitcoin and Ethereum. Times are a-changing. If you want to open a Caleb and Brown account, go to xrpwealth589.com. I created that domain just to make it easy so you could hear something you'd remember. It forwards you to my page here on Caleb and Brown, and you can hit sign up today. The market's been pulling back. It's trying to come back up a little bit. If XRP stays down here much longer, I'm going back in. I'm going to buy again. I bought XRP yesterday when the prices got, I think, down around where they are now. But if this thing gets down further, I'm going to go back in. Because here's the big picture, folks, from smoke. All this stuff is short term. And I was on the phone with my brother the other day. I think I mentioned it. And he made a very valid point. He's not even that deep into crypto, but he made a very valid point. He says, this stuff seems to really go off every fall. Like, it seems to happen over November into Christmas. But this fall's different, because all the table is set for the things happening in September and October, like the final legislation, the XRP ETFs for the first time ever, folks, lowering interest rates. All the table is completely set. Here's one of the guys from HSBC.
It's going to come, isn't it? Two questions. One is in terms of a sense of time. How has the sort of time horizon shortened for you in the last 12 months? Like, was something that you thought was going to happen in 5 years' time? Now, when do you think it's going to happen? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. I think the whole crypto story has just been accelerated. But actually, the whole crypto story has been really fast. Bitcoin's white paper was 2008. We're 16 years in. And the US president has basically said the US wants to be a global leader, and it's going to underpin the new financial markets and global financial system in 16 years. And if you add AI, which is not the topic of today's discussion, if you add AI into the equation, which is going to really help accelerate this even further, because there's a really nice, coordination between AI and blockchain and crypto, it's going to speed it up even more. And we're moving to a world where finance is going to be completely transformed. It's, people say, and it's a global financial system, but the majority of the world are not participants. And crypto is really solving the access issue. It's giving individuals with anyone around the world internet connection and a digital asset wallet to participate in financial markets and to have access potentially to US dollars. These are people that never could access US dollars. So it's really going to change the game, and it's going to bring more people into global financial markets, and it's going to enhance wealth creation for everyone involved. And so it's great to see administrations and regulators really starting to appreciate that side of the equation. So considering Bitcoin's 16 years old, I'd say we're doing pretty well.
Now, folks, I want to reiterate the point that Ripple, this is the reason all of us came here. It's very obvious to most people in the XRP community at this point that Ripple is an unstoppable force at this point. Ripple is the biggest juggernaut in all of crypto. That's why you're seeing all these Bitcoin people freaking out. They've been freaking out for a decade, but it seems like it's accelerating now. These guys lay it out in very common sense terms here. You got to listen to this. I got two clips that are going to blow you away, and I may play the whole. I'm going to play the whole clip on this one, maybe half of the other one. Two of them. These are huge.
And I think Ripple is on the forefront of that. I mean, look at what they're doing for Gemini's IPO. Yeah, I think they're giving them a $175 million credit facility. Is that correct? Did you guys see that story?
Yep, that's correct.
Well, Ripple announced this morning, 51 minutes ago, congratulations to Bullish on their successful IPO. And they arranged, Bullish did a partnership with Ripple evidently to where they've arranged for $1.15 billion of dollars of the IPO proceeds to be paid to them in Ripple's stablecoin. So, the fact that Ripple's out there doing this should not be surprising. They now have a stablecoin. They're soon to have a banking license, I would assume. They own a large exchange in Hidden Road. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to look at the fabric that's being woven here and see what it looks like. I mean,
I haven't looked deeply into that, but as you describe it, it seems like Ripple is really skating to where the puck's at with the institutional and government side of crypto. Like they have the money, they have the power, they have the, I guess, regulatory clarity now. And as you said, they can actually utilize their own stable coin to increase usage of it for all these purposes. It's pretty brilliant.
And they can cash their XRP stack in for stable coins. So it's this huge collateralized 21st century exchange that is now offering IPO services and payment through their stablecoin. That's first of its kind. It's like what's going on in Wyoming. No one's ever done that before. It's never happened. So it definitely deserves our attention.
This is what I've talked about liquidity in the crypto markets associated with equity IPOs, right? So, Bullish and Ripple doing some things. There's liquidity being passed back and forth there. Gemini taking a credit facility from Ripple. Liquidity being passed back and forth there. There's new capital that's created literally out of thin air associated with Gemini's IPO that's happening momentarily. That's going to continue to fuel a move higher. And again, that to me, that's the reason why there's going to be a breakout to the upside that's going to be pretty extraordinary in my mind. You just can't continue to create and facilitate sizable amounts of liquidity that just goes nowhere.
It's no different than the ICO, but now we're doing IPOs.
IPOs are the new ICO
on crypto exchange.
And remember, what did they do with Ethereum? It was a freaking prototype. It was the ICOs and cartoon monkeys, while Ripple's behind the scenes building what the real financial infrastructure is going to use.
Right, which is look at how much look at the ICO craze and how much liquidity that pumped into the markets. I mean, that was an incredible sight to see. It was money sloshing all around everywhere, every day. Now you're looking at Ripple doing the exact same type of a structure. And if you think about it, it's genius. If I'm going to launch my IPO, and I'm a big crypto company, Gemini, and I want to partner with somebody that can give me all the collateral that I need, all the loan that I need, the facilities that I need. They actually have the exchange where people can go buy it, both retail, institutional, the whole gamut. It's accessible by all human beings. How do you think you would gatekeep that type of a project? Well, you force people to buy it in your stable coin, right? And then you have more liquidity coming in. It's the exact same recipe that the ICOs did.
Now, think about all the liquidity that Tether provided Bitcoin over the last few years. This is Tether to Bitcoin. This is the way I always think of it. RLUSD to XRP makes Tether to Bitcoin look like a joke as we go forward.
You had to get in, if you wanted to buy it.
Make no mistake, RLUSD will be at the top of that stablecoin list probably in the next few months.
A unique ICO on Binance, what did you have to hold? BNB. You had to hold Binance. Yeah, so it's same. It's just happening.
I'll say it another way. While Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Tether have been playing checkers, Ripple has been playing chess and getting all their moves in the right place.
Now with IPOs, which is insane because there's so much more money in the IPOs and there's so much more traditional finance that is paying attention to this, but it's being done in a high-speed rail versus an old steam locomotive. It's insane.
It is insane. That's a thumbnail. Ripple, insane. We'll think about that one. Now, let me play you some more Ripple and XRP gold. This is, let me hit the refresh here. This is Sal Gilberti, who runs Ethereum ETFs. He did the 2 times XRP ETF. This guy is locked in.
I do have many friends that are XRP members of the XRP army, they call it.
Absolutely.
And I joined them, and I think XRP. I believe
enlisted,
it. Yeah,
huh?
I believe it in XRP. I believe in the use case for the Ripple ledger. Okay, let me put it that way.
Yeah.
And obviously, XRP is an integral part of that.
When look, I feel like XRP was an acquired taste.
Agreed.
When did you realize that it was an important technology?
Probably not long before we filed, whenever the filing was. Okay, because once I realized it, well, actually, that's not true because we had to wait for futures to be announced. So I did realize it, but I couldn't figure out how to
access it.
Exactly. Thank you. And so once futures were announced, okay, and I think both CME and Coinbase announced futures, and we filed. We filed immediately because you have to be first. You just have to be first. And
even with the lawsuit, even with all the headline risk,
didn't care because that had nothing to do with a derivatives product being listed in an ETF wrapper. Just doesn't have anything to do with it. You can still do it.
Yeah.
And so then we're saying, well, how are we going to be first? Okay, because many people filed for XRP ETFs, and that's where my derivatives and swap background came in.
Yep.
So we structured a swap around an XRP fund trading in Switzerland, and we got a bank to give us that swap. We packaged it inside, and we met all the rules, checked all the boxes.
Sure.
And I want to be clear: the SEC is here to help. Okay, and the new SEC is actually really here to help digital.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the difference is the SEC is always there to help. They're always there to check the boxes. We have the safest markets in the world for a reason.
Yeah.
But the SEC, because of the leadership, okay, at the time, was adversarial to most crypto.
Yeah.
And that's gone. And that's a really good thing. It's a big relief. And of course, now we see the tide turning in Washington.
So XRP, explain exactly what it is. And
sure, it's a 2x levered fund. And we knew that would be great demand and less competition to go levered versus unlevered. Also, there were futures capacity constraints. We knew there would be great demand for the funds, and if we filed for both and listed both at the same times, we would hit futures limits more quickly.
Yeah.
And which, what do you do? And so we decided to go with the levered fund on a strategic decision, which was in hindsight very good.
Sure.
And it's a great ticker. I mean, double XRP exposure, XXRP
that's
is
as simple as it gets.
Yes,
right.
and so being first with the right ticker, we learned that with our corn fund. It's a big deal.
Absolutely.
And so we made it with the swap.
Okay.
And then once futures came out, in fact, we started using Coinbase futures first.
Okay.
Coinbase, while new at the game, they've been tremendous. I should give them a shout out. I mean, Coinbase as a futures exchange has done what they said they were going to do. It has been really marvelous working with them.
Yeah.
And we're obviously big supporters of Coinbase. They've done a wonderful job on their futures. And we support the CME as well.
They've been a big advocate for the industry.
Advocate for the futures industry in general. Futures are really important. It's been my whole life on futures. And the CME came out with a bigger contract, and they're, of course, the big dog in the room when it comes to commodities derivatives. We're obviously enormous users and supporters of the CME on their agricultural products, and we're supporting them on their derivatives products for crypto.
Okay.
And so the fund trades really well. It's got a lot of liquidity. There's
a lot of early success.
Very early success. Has options on it. I mean, it checks all the boxes. But what the fund is, to your question, is it's a 2x levered fund, which investors need to understand. A levered fund has to reset every single day. So the investment objective of the fund is for each day, each single day time period, to match as closely as possible 200% performance of the underlying instrument, which is XRP futures, basically. And the futures go with XRP. So understand less fees, expenses, and whatever market static there is to get the execution done and pricing and things like that. You should get each day approximately 200% up or down on your money. But at the end of the day, because of the change and because of the way the math works, we have to reset for the next day. So this is not a buy and hold product. I have to be clear. It is an aggressive trading product. People may choose to do with it what they wish. It is designed for single day time horizon aggressive trade.
I'm glad you said that. So right now, this is not volatility, but the traction that you see is obviously within the trader market, which is exactly where it's supposed to be.
Correct.
That's right. Do you see the advisor community and or the wealth management space embracing or adopting the product?
Yes, we do. And I actually don't want to comment any further than that, just because it is designed to be a trading product. But we are hearing from investors of all kinds who have tremendous interest in this product. Now,
I told you a long time ago the financial advisors were coming. They were going to come. I told you 7 years ago. That's where this ended. They're coming.
Their choice to use it however they wish. But it's designed for 1 day time horizon, short-term trading.
What's the feedback you've been hearing on the product so far?
Amazingly positive. I mean, we run into people all the time who say, I trade that product, I love it.
Wow.
So we're really happy with it, truly.
Okay. I like that. Let me ask you a question. This is a bit of a pivot, but there seems to be an unwavering level of belief and understanding of the company Ripple. I just want to get your sense on this. And because you have a derivatives background, this is important. And let me try to level set this. Historically, in traditional equities, if I want a competitive edge in a specific area or asset class or sector, I'm talking to the management of these companies. And I'm going to sit across from you as a potential investor and say, look, I met with the portfolio management team. This is what they're doing. Here's where they're investing. With derivatives, you're technically not getting that access, or do you have that access to the Ripple team to understand what they're doing long term for you to somewhat communicate that value and your thought process on the continued success of this product? Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay.
I don't think we have any more or less ability to connect with the Ripple team. I mean, we can, but I think a lot of other people can too. They're communicative people. And I get your point, but look at the products that we are issuing are they are so people can track and participate in the price movement of a particular item. This happens to be XRP. XRP happens to be the token that's Ripple's token, but they have RLUSD. I don't want to speak for Ripple, but they have a mission which is essentially moving money around. And they're going to be able to do other things as the ledger builds out. And they are doing other things, the ledger builds out. When you go to a conference, the number of people that are there who aren't just token owners, but they're actually programmers. They're people that are using the ledger and developing the ledger. It's That's not unique to Ripple, I don't think. That's the whole blockchain environment and ecosystem. And so I think that people who have those questions should contact Ripple and ask them. They're there and they're answering questions. I think as far as anybody can understand what's actually going on a ledger who's not a computer geek, that's where the problem comes in. Right? It's hard for any of us to get it. What I get is price movement, derivatives, how they behave. And I'm a big believer in the XRP token is going to have a massive use case. But where that goes and where that will take the price, I don't have a clue.
Look, I think what's going on in cryptography is important in the sense of the internet was built without security rails in many cases, and every single day if you look on the news feed, there's some sort of hack, there's some sort of security issue going on, and we're talking about better accounting, stronger security, and I'd say better clearance, if you will. If that's the technological upgrade that we get with the information of data that's moving in anything, I think that's a good thing.
I think you're right.
Right? I think that's a good thing. So for me, the reason why I sort of got on the crypto trade was I read a white paper from the World Bank Group a number of years ago, from 2015.
You know, those kind of documents we've been passing around in the XRP community for 7 years.
It was called sandboxes, where basically the largest banks got together. They outlined geographical areas where people could actually go out and test their technologies. And the technological test was security, identification, KYC, AML, transfer of payments, all of these things to bring a stronger financial ecosystem together. So for me, that's where it was, and that's where it made a ton of sense. And I feel like when you read what's going on with the XRP community, they're sharing a lot of that particular information, not just obviously focused on chasing price.
I think there's no doubt about that. I think the XRP community is more holistic than you might think right when you come in, because they're looking at exactly that. And you bring up a good point. KYC, that's been brought up to me in a lot.
Okay. Sorry to make the video so long, but I just felt like you needed to see those two videos. A lot of reasons to be excited. We're going to go into DAIXRP.com. That's the Patreon. If you'd rather join through YouTube, click join below any of these videos or hit subscribe on X. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. A lot more to cover. Here we go.